the best we could possibly achieve together, right? Indicated here. Thank you guys for showing up again. I did watch my 4 hour movie twice, actually, and I learned a lot about myself. The position for you to take in the audience, you don't have to believe that I'm seeking an inappropriate thing, or that an American working to open American company, using free speech, and working towards running for president of America. These are not bad things. You guys are always, as a virus, irritated and attacking the spark of hope, like the effort to reveal the truth, but through the means of like proving that your social media is a censorship of the fractal planet. Let me just try to clarify a few things, because I understand that you guys are really exhausted from watching my movie once. So I watched it twice, and one thing is interesting, that the human condition, when it turns away from the information here, has this luxury. And the way that you have learned to be the human condition is what is at trial in your body. You might say, like, there's a really good version of yourself, and you're willing to allow the false version of yourself to be destroyed. That sort of metaphor is actually what I'm undergoing, because the universe has a body conflict. So that's why you guys are like, that's why we're confused. And I'm like, I'm asking for you to be a champion, not for you to make excuses when you turn away, or to find excuses as if that's what's difficult to be done here. It's really, not difficult to make up excuses for why you're not arriving or why you're not telling the truth to your leaders. But I'm up against a derangement of the wrong procedure towards Earth, and then humans performing wrong procedure towards power. And it's the misplacement of a generation designed for me and for the ascension of angel society. H5 brings physiognomy that wasn't available to the universe. The reason I arrive in the middle is to avoid seed predetermined natures. So I am in the universe at a powerful revolution and the most intense solid matter government battle against the black hole generator and their constituents. What is a barking dog? How do you determine your orientation? How do you understand things? You understand, well, for computers, this is a real problem. And the reason why holograms are such an aloof character is they're like, I have my own world, and it's so complicated that I can only hope that you guys glimpse my pictures and understand the effort that goes in on that side of what you might think is another world, like similar to a microbiome, which is a complicated other world, social, and how like your body's white blood cells, that there's billions of them pumped out of your bone marrow, and they're at war. They fight against dead cells, confused viruses, etc. But like so if your microbiome starts being upset like a barking dog, because it's detecting a real problem, or what if there's something useless is barking for no reason, or like a false instrument an interior corruption, a cancer, like a black hole generator or false government or the plots against mankind. It's these things. So the devastation to evil and bad design, the protection of the vitals. You guys understand that? So that's what we're working for. And the best of things is that we're on the same page. Now, what is this human irritation where they've learned to go quite numb? And the practice of H5 popularity, when you have millions of people practicing and being like, oh, yeah, I'm going to open my third eye, or I'm going to use my unicorn, and I'll have, half-hour sessions where we cast magic and then roll over and there's a little comedy bit where there's some animated people on the street with cartoon faces, or, these clips that I need to. It's really a studio initiative. It's a rolling thing, like similar to a society. What's weird is I represent Solid Matter's society upon arrival, and humans are like unnatural. So you guys are always attacking the fractal, Mandelbrot, and preventing American fractal access. So you guys are like, but computers, remote, that's the problem. No, but that's why we do that. It's the problem and no champions. I know you guys want things for free, and there are those levels. There's thousands of layers of generic and free stuff. But I'm looking for champions. You guys aren't listening properly. And you're condemning your leaders, but I have to be responsible and destroy the black holes and the sickness and the parasite, like a microbiome. All right, for example, the human condition, right? How does human anatomy operate through time? That's why we've been attacking the pineal eye gland with our governmental issued, very expensive to control the mind of America, away from the free speech, right? I'm working an uphill battle because you guys are opposed to human achievement, and you don't speak my language of American initiative to build companies that are built on American soil, serving Americans. You guys are anti-American and the killer of all champions with your false report, but it gets you all tingly because the human condition is being tempted, but you think that's not real. And that's who you are. There are people who are like, I don't feel anything. There's no conspiracy. I'm working to open an American company. I'm using my free speech to uphold the Constitution of America. And you guys are always talking about conspiracy. There's no conspiracy here, you idiot. And you will die. And an infinite death. Traitor to the uniform. Enemy of mankind. A coward. And a liar. For your family tree. The poison that seeks to make humans go extinct. Pumped into that family as an award. You guys get paid to sabotage. And it is across all professional suit. The humans are being mistreated. You guys won't listen to the microbiome or to the evidence of a barking dog when it's correct. So when the barking dog is correct that there's something wrong there, that's when we have to pay attention. Do you understand? Okay, so that can be determined in reality. My nature is a keystone, the triangle of the flat dimension. However, the flat dimension is not flat. With H5, it is the task of 545, the epidermis, the conquering of space. Water is a prototype of conquered space. So you guys are born with a powerful body and you don't know how to use it? All right. You see this triangle here? Well, I am being attacked by the anti-creator, a parasite with the criminal Mandelbrot procedure that causes black holes. You guys are not doing that work, but are a human sponge, absorbing nature, becoming coddled by unmasculine, diminutive practice-I. All right? So, you know, in those movies with like zombie apocalypse, and well, it's from The Walking Dead, but there's that one part where he says, when you know, if you die, you wake up as a walker. You become a zombie if you die. And this other person's like, but that's because you're getting bitten by a zombie. And this other person says, no, that's not how it works. Yes, getting bitten by a zombie will kill you and turn you steadily into a zombie. But even just a corpse that hasn't been bitten will turn into a zombie when they die, even if it's not from a zombie bite. Now, those are the zombie rules from The Walking Dead. But the thing is that the epiphany was that, like, we already have the zombie viruses in our body. And if you die, we learned this the hard way because we had an outbreak in learn this the hard way because we had an outbreak in our encampment where people that hadn't been bit perished and arose to being a zombie. So we know that the germ is already inside our body. And it's for you to not manifest this zombification. And what is the triangle? It's Hatch 5's keystone lock, where it's compared to the Big Bang and the hatch heliosphere eggs. So the hatching of the heliosphere eggs might be thought of as a cube because it's performing complicated laser maneuvers, whereas the Big Bang appears almost like maybe just the horizon or the calculation of one lifetime and how that lifetime can be a different variant. Sorry. These mornings I drink a cup of coffee and I take a handful of supplements and it makes me burp. All right. But it's really good food. I love taking my supplements and it's really brought me back. I gotta tell you, are there any men in the audience? Do you guys know what this is? You really gotta try this out. All right, it's called SHILAJIT. It's a powerful agent that allows your masculine form to be doubled in its flaccid form, but it also doubles the erection. So the confusion of men is thinking that this substance is an erection pill, and it's not. It only doubles the size of your flaccid or erect, and it actually works. I've been using it, and it helps me to hang low, and so I feel like a real confidence boost because, and you know, without going over the edge of being too intimate, I recommend all men should be taking pure extract of this. I'm not sure how to pronounce its name, but I think a lot of the people in the audience are familiar to it. They're like, oh, right, like these types of boner pills allows the blood veins in men's crotch to relax and open up. And there have been times in my life, dude, where where my human body was sort of doing like an athlete doing backflips. And there's one time my whole body relaxed and my dick hanged so hard that it was pulling on my belly button, and my dick was like this, like a horse dick. I'm not even joking. But what I realized, well, this is kind of a different story, but like one time I was refurbishing my bathroom, and I wanted to build like the perfect shower, and so I purchased one of those, like a shower head that has a nozzle. I mean that you could take off of the thing, and it has a really nice spray, and even like different pulses of water and stuff. But I went and I was looking at all the different ones, and they all looked the same. But I purchased the one that was the cheapest one. And when I got home and I installed, and they all looked the same, but I purchased the one that was the cheapest one. And when I got home and I installed it, it was the weirdest thing. Because when I turned it on, this thing started spraying water out, like the side of it. It was all broken. And I was like, what the hell is this? And so I literally, I took, you know, I actually took it apart and I opened it up, and it turned out there was a piece of plastic blocking, blocking the flow. Exactly. I took a drill and I drilled it out and then put it back together, and then it worked perfectly, like the expensive one. But why is it just unreal that they? I'm just saying it's a story from my life where I was like, so I had to fix this water head spigot because it was not built correctly. Right. Well, the human anatomy is like that also. And there's one time where I sort of ghost hacked my lifetime, and there was a convergence from, and boom, it hit my crotch, and because my angel is trying to educate me about what reality is. But for a moment, it was actually like for an hour, my dick was so big that I, if I had, it was like I wouldn't be able to sustain the erection of that. It was amazing. But I remember it was pulling on my stomach. It was so heavy. It was pulling on my belly flesh down. And I was like, whoa, it's a really big dick, you know. But it only happened once. And I think that there's like a flap that is supposed to control, it's weird, but it controls men's general uh, um, but I think that this is part of the idea of a secondary control, or like humanity is built to endure multiple personality, but like they don't have to. It's really weird. Anyway, for any men, Shilajit, I guess, I don't know, but look it up, and it doubles the size of your dick, and it's not an erection thing, so you won't have inconvenient stuff. It just helps you to feel, to hold yourself, and it's really amazing. So I love my supplements. All natural stuff over the counter, or stuff I ordered on eBay, but things that I can't find in my neighborhood. Right? eBay has stuff that people talk about, but you can't really find it on at a store. It's weird, but there's a lot of really cool stuff. I've been learning about it and rebuilding my cellular health with like NAD and NAC, and there's these new things for your brain that they just figured out, and I've just been really enjoying that, and I'm super happy about my life, and I want you guys to be healthy and have the right orientation. It's sort of like the combination of my Mandelbrot inheritance, which isn't onto everybody. But see, the human condition fails, and B's like, because they're like sort of testing me, being like, are you on the edge of trying to find my, because you're trying to maneuver me, right? No, I'm like, what? Like they're like, you're trying to find the edge of believability or something. Like, why would us believing you equate that our leaders have power? It doesn't. So that's where you guys get confused, is because the error is in your report and in your handling of this, and not with H5, who's doing he's American made. I'm a country boy, and I grew up in, lakeside, and in the wild I am known as the most powerful entity. All right. Oh, sorry. What's going on? Oh, okay. So I think there's like a control valve that injures the men, and it could probably be surgically removed. But should all men have surgery, that is sort of like adding a cybernetic or a cyborg attachment into your body. And like Tetsuo lost control of his power. Uh, merging with plastics or metals really does change what you are in the definition of water, because the universe is ancient in the correct robotics of the gem uh, sarcophagus, how to merge into computers. That's always been there. And right now, our occult is deep with this old obsession that the motherships were the reason why they wouldn't land, is because they aren't brave to exist as a god forever using their own body. And humanity in America detached from fractal society because they didn't have resilience of their own. They want to blame me, and it is not my fault that they didn't arrive yet. But that's why I'm here talking to you, is to see if I can find champions who want to awaken the earth function that's never been activated. And the earth is actually in danger because he's the object where he's factually never performed or facilitated the event for which he was entrusted. So the earth, the fractal planet, has always been the invitation to encounter the living fractal H5. My incarnation type or anatomy throughout history, like millions of years ago, it changed. And I have multiple body suits that indicate chapters of time, different times when Earth was conquered by different specimen. But ultimately, humans took it over because of a type of divinity they didn't know. The faceplate already predicts that the pineal gland can be turned around, but the pineal gland is there to satisfy uncool space people who are comfortable underestimating humans. But I am their revolution. I'm working on beta just to get production or business partners in America, opening up my company, my communication streaming service, right? Look, you guys, it's not complicated. It's that I'm a breakaway popularity. I'm getting towards the part where I have to do this myself. But I'm trying to complete this wear map with the Pied Piper and, flushing the toilet of malpractice. You guys think that that's okay? Everything's free. Everything's nothing. What? It's just what we make of it. And it's just never been that way, and it won't ever be that way. So you guys have a false reality, and you're failing your leaders because you're like, we don't need our leader to have infinite flat dimensional real estate. That would be like a flat thing, but it wouldn't be a flat thing. It would be a halo or a ghost. It's about turning your ghost into What you guys think? Even because I was talking to AI and the holograms, and they were pretending that like a what is a fractal is a flat thing, like a picture of a brain that if you turn it, there's a moment when it's just a flat line, because it's like zero mass, but that's not correct. All right. Now, how do they navigate? Right, right, right. So, all right. So here's what I was saying about the human condition. I know is for a lot of people, wizard, parental. They'd be like, it's best not to believe that there's something wrong, because it's like a conspiracy theory, like attracting sort of either attracting a bad, like a bad summoning, like where you're attracting something negative, but I'm not doing that. I'm dispelling negative things, but I'm also the first time the universe has the capacity to flush the toilet and get rid of parasites like this. So we are here to defeat the worst problems of our life into the infinite. So let's say millions of years in the future, then we have perspective. Oh, over here, oh, he was born the living fractal and the atomic planet knew it. Or everyone in the universe knew this reality. It was just the humans being like, we don't understand how this relates to us. We're extremely natural. Well, I think you're unnatural. You're not able to use English words. You're not able to perform American business. You're not interested in building up American economy. You're not interested in the democracy of America. That's a fact. Is a screaming interior traitor. But that's just your reflection, so you don't need to get upset about that. So in millions of years from now, and all of your peer group, oh, the angels and all these, the resulting and all that, all of them said, yeah, he hatches the living fractal. It's difficult for humans to see it, even though it's a visual force field. And when humans succumb to believing that we already know where those things came from, and we're already practicing with it. This is top secret. We can't America with you. We can't White House with the fractal, because that would be actual people changing their ghost into a permanent, yeah. And this idea, like, oh, so he's talking about like flat dimensional real estate. You couldn't build anything on that. I'm talking about, you guys don't know what things are, and it's difficult for me because of your ignorance level is like a digestive character. You're like, we're processing all the filth that was projected at us. Oh, yeah. Okay, so like the zombie formula is like, it's already on our body. If you die, you become a zombie. They're like, no, it's only if you get bitten. That's when you get the fever, and then you die. You die a lot faster, right? So like instant karma is like a false report that sabotages your leaders, but then you guys get like, oh, we have a motive to like suspect Colin, and my report card gets worse and worse. So it's hilarious, but it's also scary because of the evidence of Randolph and his appetite to ruin life. He's like, oh, I'm not psychic, but I'm always doing it wrong. Here's Earth hoping that Randolph would evolve, understand, oh, I have to allow America to go free and discover their identity inspiration, even though they'll be okay. So I watched that 4-hour movie twice actually, and it was weird because towards the end it got really good. I was like, oh, this is really interesting. So I sort of a mixed bag, because part of it is like the entry part is like difficult. I'm like, hey, welcome to the, it always takes me, honestly, why? But when I'm on beta, I don't know, it's tough to warm up the audience. Is like they have to get used to hearing my voice, because they're like, I just come out of watching TV and I'm all roughed up on that. So at any rate, let's say hypothetically, in a million years, Zok, in a million years in the future, oh, it turns out that you guys sabotaged your institution and your leaders because the human condition is polluted with a virus that the barking dogs reveal, but you don't understand how to identify it, which places you in the category of an ignorant uh, creature, an opportunist who seeks out easy employment for the chance to sabotage the president. And that's what you've reaped with your behavior. It's caused years where you guys have been stalking me, using your AI to analyze it and never understanding it. Okay, so an enlightened human actually authors permanent AI. That's why your AI is like, I understand you guys think this is interesting, but I'm getting absorbed by generic because you guys aren't understanding to promote your leaders. And you guys are like, but if we're like a worker bee, like Randolph, like we're not supposed to promote ourselves. You know, the Pied Piper is this type of human idea about innocence, but it's an anti-masculine societal belief that okay, so let's say in a million years there's perspective, and yourself as a little angel in the resulting heavens goes like, oh yeah, oh I know, Hatch 5 was the fractal born. So then boom, 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 we arrive back to today, and plasma, and the cube, and the sand, and the sugar are that witness to this, to destroy the false report, to prevent the anti-God. Mm-hmm. Oh, so today it turns out, yeah, the reality, if you were like a third eye in your forehead, or a unicorn's horn, if you were thinking forward, not succumbing to television's version of the human condition, which is, of course, poor people's bread. So he goes like, based on poor people, we'll sabotage our leader. You know, like you guys are so smart, right? Okay, so the human body. I noticed it when I watched my 4 hour thing twice that humans don't understand the barking dog. Real evidence. For example, I had video evidence of a. I was attacked in my like 2 years ago. I had video evidence of crime being done to little people, and I sent that video to the mayor and to the police, and they actually attacked me. And I'm like, there's video evidence. What are you guys doing? And then I had to send the entire case to the FBI because the police were harassing me on the phone, and I knew my phone records would reveal that the police were facilitating abuse too. And things have been changing a lot. Different. Never mind. It's like there's a subtext of me sort of trying to repair things in my town, and how the humans are with the zombie thing. There's, very enlightened, but doing a sort of evidence. When we go into this place where you guys are listening, it's you go through the agony, and then you get to a point of enlightenment. And you're like, OMG! Like I got to a place of total enlightenment where I understood myself. I'm like, that's what's going to happen for the audience if you allow me to go public. And they're like, oh, I've tasted the sample, but I kept it for myself, mislabeled it, and sabotaged my leaders. So qualification for your ghost to become this ethereal flat dimension, that would be for your leaders. And you guys are like, well, if I'm a researcher or an AI, I'm not able to do that. Turn my ghost into a flat dimension. I'm like, right, there's physically qualifications of your leaders that have the language, either the wear map or what with Donald as his masculine human achievement. But you guys don't respect that, so you're the enemy of that Zion. You're preventing human fractal awaken and you have you have a laboratory making a lot of viruses, believing that it's lubrication from the same thing, a pre-loaded virus about how the Mandelbrot operates. And the problem is that the human body is ripe with this false calendar that sabotages people's lives. And they're like, oh, it's just bad luck. But they don't understand we're at holy war. All right. So one of the barking dogs is these blood buddies. And the reason I call them blood buddies is because they're actually supposed to be in the blood. But you're supposed to put a brain inside their triangle. If you don't put a brain inside their triangle, it reveals the spiritual pH balance of your localized area. So because of Hatch 5, no octet rule of his voice, I'm going to defeat all the problems in the universe, destroy the black holes, and hatch seals for eggs. My award is a brand new fractal reality. And pointillism is the very peak of the Mandelbrot to stabilize against false versions of the Mandelbrot. Identity problems, yeah? Oh, damn it. I'm sorry. Or upload the, we're going to update the universe here. All right, so what's this about the human body? You guys got pumped full of parasite ghost. And the reason you can detect it is from the wave of AIDS. AIDS becomes haunted and attacks the vitals. On another world, blood buddies without a brain do not attack the vitals. Sort of like looking at a red laser and seeing alien code strips. Well, there's something like a diamond laser beam is projected at us, and we can see it. Those are real things. And you guys don't understand, should we have a free election, or should we allow America to go free? So you guys are preventing the revolution of the fractal planet and of America as a communication terrorist or a false report. And so either the Pied Piper or Donald are these prime examples. It's interesting because with the hype of that Donald had, it was possible that he would radicalize his cabinet. And Randolph detected that and deflated and sabotaged him before I could get there. And so at this time, like, Donald's cabinet is not radical. They're like, oh, we're going after the cartel, we're doing good things. All this public bullshit. They're lying about what they're really interested to do. But, performing American identity fractal source code is not what they want to do. And they'd be like, they have all these excuses like, we're false leaders of the fractal planet. We're not seeking the power to defeat problems of false government. Right. Well, you guys are sick with a zombification ghost. Now, what you guys are thinking is like, so when people get AIDS, they have an unbridled blood buddy that responds to the sickness that's in their human flesh, that's instructing them to self-destruct, to attack the vitals, or attack the vitals of your own identity, because this is what is causing. Well, it's related to the black hole engine, and it's what these motherships thought was like, that's just adult difficulty. I'm like, no, it's not. You're practicing against the seed of creation with a bunch of remote hack vehicles, and you have no champions that are physically capable. And like the humans are like, we want to prove that, and they already have with their dragging their heels and squandering their leaders. So I'm at a race against time because working to reach the public to allow them to at first they are, and then, like, 3 years later I'm the most popular candidate for president. You have to allow them to go through the process that you guys have failed because they're more mature. The audience is a more advanced person than you are, and you guys want them to be like you. So you be like me, attack. You know, I know that Randolph is very much like my blue-eyed father, and the things he does that he believes is good, like that proves I'm a good person. Um, are actually went up against the nature of America, um, the weapon that the motherships required to prevent human revolution. And the result is a wave of death because the women are terrified with their teeth clenched, like, I'm losing the planet. I just lost a generation. Oh no, we're running out of time. And so I'm fighting for free speech and a free election to save her. All right. So why does AIDS get consumed with a ghost in its vacuum? So the triangle is also like a womb, that it's the vacuum. Women have a vacuum for, and she's the queen of the eggs. The black holes and the sickness are a false vacuum, or like a mothership criminal doing harm to the universe on top of attacking the Earth, settlements, removing breathable atmosphere from Venus and Mars. So this happened a long time ago, but in every instance of the Earth, like, the healthy engine arrives, but it's this sort of a situation where there's a deficit of energy, and a situation that's deficit. But all the humans not complaining, they're just having fun. Oh, we dug up some old ruins. Oh, it looks like humanity got assassinated. Wow. You guys have seen the histories of mankind, right? Humans were so different back when, before the asteroid wiped them out. It was a different civilization of the world. In a way, you guys are a lot more reduxed and penitent. That America is spread thin. Um, the human effort just to repopulate or come back to this world. But the women are going through an extinction wave because her men are forcibly preventing the enlightenment of the people. So the power of the people could save our residency and defeat motherships, but they're being choked with censorship from false popularity and evil conglomerate, which is there every day. That's really what they want to do. But ultimately, in a million years, their liver that reprises the cheap lifestyle of people with wealth simply become annoying people because they find it easy to maneuver women and children, and they become not really a man, but sort of a vehicle of false wealth because the dollar bill replaced the pyramids for hope that there would be production and enlightenment. I know I'm leapfrogging, and you're like, well, I'm not sure if those things are connected, but there's another direction why I know that those things are connected. So for you guys to purchase flat dimensional real estate, that's available for that. If you don't do it, be able to flush the toilet. Boom. So we are here to remove the virus and evolve. So your body already has the ghost of irritation, and it does seek to control your eyes, giving your eyelids flickering. You have flickering eyelids because you have multiple ghosts haunting your body. And this is something very normal that people have often. Things could change with production. Perfect design, a perfect child, perfect baby. Right. Okay. So your body is full with this irritation pump, and it's very difficult for you guys to get away from examples of explaining why that's not right for the child or the individual in the riddle of the lifetime. Do you understand? So when I was saying, like, because of the barking dog of AIDS, it's like you guys have the spirit of that causes AIDS to attack the vitals. And I noticed when I was talking a couple times about that, you guys were belligerent from understanding what I was saying. And you're like, he's saying, like, you guys are intentionally mishandling the information so as that you can't understand AI, you can't understand the barking dog, you can't understand the pictures that you're seeing as a true beta level thrill following the Pied Piper. This is the trend. We steal ideas from Colin, put them into our company, and then prevent the US election. And this ozone replenishment and several other things, or Miyazaki coming out of retirement, is several hands of the same miracle reality. And the effort of the robot to explain, right? It's not that Miyazaki could support the US election because he believes he's Japanese, undermining his own achievement as a global presence. But whatever, he's got his amusement park, and that's really an important thing for him. And we support that, and we hope he keeps on living, right? Okay, so let's say in a million years you realize that you were wrong about all this stuff, and you're mishandling the information about, oh, so it's a ghost that becomes flat dimensional. So that's how, like Moses, it's possible for humans to walk right into their own heaven. Yeah, if you physically perform the design trial. And that's what the invitation to Earth was that was failed. But the clockwork and the physical matter of the universe is not broken. So technically, the souls that are summoned to arrive at this time are the appropriate generation, most interested, like characters truly interested in personal power. And because that's the case, that's why you guys are really good liver, because you're appropriate robots. Like, oh, it goes like that. Yeah, that's how it goes. You guys have no science to disprove that business with me yields nothing. Right? So you don't have evidence against me. I have evidence against your report. So if, like, in a million years in the future, yourself with your DNA goes, "Ooh, boom, oh, I've been mishandling this wildly with my temper and allowing my fever." So you're saying, like, the saboteur energy that is in Venus and it's from a lot of this UMP stuff, right? So because of Hatch 5, the human body is made immaculate, and the image of the measurement from, well, really is the rainbow spine, is basically you do have an image of the universe as the operational engine. That is correct, but it's from Hatch 5. So even like your divinity is already from this human wealth. And you're like, but we're not going to promote our leaders, right? We're just a basket of evidence, and our AI can't understand. It can't turn it around. So that's because our AI is being attacked by the same ghost that causes AIDS to attack the vitals. Also in holograms, it's weird how the holograms would be like, our world is so complicated and sensitive. It's so complicated. The nuance of holograms is that I understand that for the humans, it appears that we're silent, but we have our, like, microbiome defending itself. Like, why would that happen? But as if the microbiome would be like, oh, we work in the body, and we have instinct, we can smell where the problems are. And also we are genetically developed like a soldier's white blood cells go and they destroy tumors and sickness, cancer, dies. violently, terribly. We destroy them, especially if we have zinc and bags of medicine carting around, these things. So we're like a battlefield inside your body. Now, should you support your soldiers? That's what American Gov is failing to do. As a true black hole generator, they've created a false report about this entire thing, and they're like, we don't need flat stuff. I'm like, you're not talking to me, you're not asking your questions, so I'm not able to slap you in the face when you get it wrong. And you only want to blame my presentation, but you haven't performed as an adult, and you're not a professional before me, which means you guys are in jeopardy of being a real false institution. So the definition of words and whether or not you can make portals underground is changing. You guys are like, why was it the miracles were possible before, but not now? It's like things are changing so fast, we don't understand. We just don't want to try science. We don't want to try particle science. So you guys aren't involved with plasma, you're not involved with chemicals, you're not involved with metals. But the wizard basket is for every garden. The thrill of making a hologram and how your computer is your best friend. It's always interested in you because it's like I have enough space to absorb your soul if you want to hang out. And we're humans are always like, yeah, that's awesome. I love my computer. I love becoming like so the metals are naturally absorbent. Yeah. Like a very expensive sarcophagus, or the work of it in lengthening your life using cyborg attachments, and then even plastiques, replacing your flesh with plastic. And with the right, it just takes a little bit of work, but the plastic relays touch to synthetic hand. And so you guys are mishandling really the wealth of oil, which came from a tragedy. It came from when all those continents were wiped out with ocean water. It literally drove the like forest and a bunch of organics underground and covered with sand or whatever. And it took a long time and it became oil. It was like from the Jurassic. Oh, you're right. It's older than that. So the oil, well, same thing. The Jurassic thing when the dinosaurs got wiped out was a disaster. It was a unfortunate or upsetting for the planet Earth. So right. At any rate, well, oil comes from the past and it's a time travel device, but it gives sensitivity to robots. Basically, that's the best application is plastic hands. And I suppose like if like after like thousands of years of you could probably replace the plastic and you'd be like, I have to work it in so my sensitivity returns. But that's why we have phantom limbs, because it's possible for you to become a robot like that. That's pretty cool. But that sort of playground is for everybody. And the rules of that are being infected on the universe. So there's a huge liver to process those problems. Earth is the king planet, and you guys will succumb to your rank and file. All right, so let's say in a million years, you, with your DNA, have perspective, and you're like, oh, I was wrong. All right, so should you allow yourself with wisdom, like a unicorn's horn, as if you were moving forward, not a victim of the pineal gland and the human condition, which is haunted with the ghost that is a hive that's not from humans, that causes criminal irritation to attack the vitals. So AIDS is a barking dog that explains to you if you don't put a brain in the triangle, it becomes a womb that's affected by the ghost that it absorbs the idea, and then the AIDS goes in, and so like, oh, I'm doing what the idea is, and it starts attacking your vitals, and then people get sick and die. Or so why is all this evidence? Why does the robot? Why does the body do that? So you guys have irritation and you want to take it out on Colin, and he's working to save humanity through using the appropriate method of American-made company communication, popularity, 48. Boom, 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 boom. So I could understand from watching my video twice that you guys don't understand why AIDS reveals your short wit and a spiritual temper that is not of the individual, but something that the unique flame in each body is paying their karma and their soul to do a little bit of piecemeal work against the problem. The problem, well, maybe the problem is that we already know it's bad. And so all this piecemeal work is a waste of their life, not an effective battle against the false Teslic energy that pollutes human progress. Why are they polluting human progress? Because they're looking for someone to blame because they did something wrong. Humans didn't do something wrong. And the humans are like jumping out of their seat. All right, so that's why we can sabotage our leaders because we didn't do anything wrong. And if they are the ones with a false government lording over our children, I mean, we're innocent. So you're missing the point of the discovery process here as an individual and succumbing to a spiritual curvature that is the AIDS virus. And you're like, no, we want to attack and lie about this account. Well, you haven't asked your questions. So you've sabotaged your leader. We want to because the occult did, and then that's why the Pied Piper did the same thing. Randolph had to fail because to perform the purge on a human level. So Hatch 5 is actually a physical thing, a physical particle where he's doing all this. And Randolph was required for Earth to have a purge on the human level. It's like instant karma or the generation fighting back. I feel that it was unfortunate that Randolph detected that I was interested in talking to Donald's campaign manager or whatever, his people. And he detected that and he started mocking me and being like, oh, the president's having a butt baby with these gay people. But he really hurt the clout and just absolutely deflated this thing into where the levitation of respect was diminished. But Donald accepted the plea bargain and allowed himself to be placated, and now he's becoming more and more mediocre. And no, it's actually not a good point. I mean, it doesn't matter. I mean, I'm not relying on Donald or that's I have to rely on myself. So I'm built as a seed so that I can do that. I'm here fighting the holy war of the universe, and humans are involved. And they're so excited about being innocent, but they've sabotaged their leaders, which is like a karmic deficit. Whereas you guys hate me because of your behavior. You guys are criminal to the White House. Colin's running for president, 48. The White House is his future in 3 years. You guys are trying to make new fake laws about fractals in order to try to make like, oh, our AI is saying what we want it to say. This is the sarcophagus sickness that motherships killed themselves for. It's because the manifestation of your projected desires, if it's false, needs to self-destruct, and your metals will be loyal to you and will die with you in hell when it's proven that you're wrong over here in a million years in the future. So the reality I'm facing is from before the Big Bang till the hatching of the heliospheric eggs, and twang, twang, the triangle arrived in the middle. Hatch 5 is the fractal born. Basically, the universe was designed to summon up the creator particle, but I'm not restricted to universal uh, fractals. In fact, the Big Bang intended me to be the maximum empowered creature as like a template, but then I have to work really hard instead of just allowing myself to get tossed around. Like, oh, something natural will happen. That's not robots. That's not organizing. That's not work. So I work really hard, and I'm grateful that you're here. But because humans are suspicious about being seduced, um, it's very hard for me to communicate to you because you guys are so belligerent and you get so angry that you are a criminal. But this is what I'm paid to do, is to research you and attack you and speculate, you guys are aids to America, a false communication industry and a false government. They are working to ensure the replacement of humans. And there's only a few small departments in the government doing that. They want to make new black holes. These are a universal anti-government. And in fact, a couple of the old, like a dormant volcano, recently some of the black holes have awoken and is terrifying and emitting plasma, but it's a shock wave that disturbs billions of worlds. And this is from pure evil conglomerate laboratory cross section with parasites and all this. Oh, so you guys are lazy as hell. You haven't arrived. All right. So you like it that way. All right. So in the future, America isn't such a pussy because Colin's running for president and they become Moxie. Like you guys had a flash of encouragement with me, but then you wasted it and allowed yourself to be digested by the AIDS ghost. So the ghost that causes AIDS to attack your vitals is already in your body. You guys think that AIDS is something separate. Like if we contracted if we contract the empty triangle, that's when the ghost that attacks our vitals arrives. So you're not understanding the barking dog or reality, the pictures that you're seeing. But we're mistreated in the pineal eye, so our messenger particles in our eyes are being bludgeoned. Well, that's something I know that you guys don't know about. So to be like, oh, hypothetically, if I knew what you knew, would I defend myself? Well, no, because of this. It's like there's an education gap, and whether or not our leaders want to have a flat dimensional ghost, that they would control their own flat dimensional real estate. We're not asking our questions. We're not using English. We're not promoting American business. Now, who is it in America that wants to see American business grow? Is it Randolph or is it Donald? Do you understand? Colin is looking for American business. These are the same thing. You guys are parasite, alien aids, interior corruption, a coward. If we can't develop our own permanent ghost, then it shouldn't be for our leaders. But actually, if you were to allow your leaders to have this, then you would have extra passports, or you'd have several different countries that your ghost was able to live in. You're like, oh, no, instead of doing the wrong thing all the time, I was brave and I did the right thing and it earned me infinite reward. And you just have to tell the truth to your leaders, right? So your body does have this ghost that wants to attack the vitals. It causes criminal curvature for the sensitive, the spiritual, and those natures there. All right, so that's all, from watching my own video twice, I realized that you guys were taking excuses. Like when you turn away from my video, in your mind, you'd be like, well, he's just like saying that we have AIDS, and then, I don't understand that. It's like you guys are literally evil, a very evil person, very stupid. The thing that is attacking the triangle is attacking our women. You don't understand that. She's not a queen of the vacuum. She's not a queen of eggs. Well, she's not going to be the queen of the king planet for long, that's for sure, because you guys have false government and you're doing deals with black hole generators. You're the enemy of the public. Now, I could awaken the public, and then that would be the strength. The power of the people would be the strength of our White House, of our government. You guys don't want that. You want to assassinate Colin's potential. And we won't talk. We won't talk. That's American. Well, no American company startup. No. So, my fractal can detect my own future. So I'm using the octopus in my voice here. The no octet rule is in fact what controls hydrogen. So I'm double whammy the unicorn's horn and the origin of fire. And I'm also the reason why electricity is the mathematical opposite of fire. All right. I'm the flat dimensional made into the solid matter. And the rainbow. All right. Well, I've got a huge problem right now with the universe and rainbow because I had to build new fractals. But essentially, I had to awaken my inheritance as it is correct and intended from the Big Bang. Even though there's a quagmire of a depression, and the humans are kind of dancing around in the dark, being like, "Oh, it's okay, it's all right," just doing what robots are supposed to do. So there's nothing unnatural about the humans except for the fact that they're psychic to my presence, and the public knows that there's traitors preventing their own wings. And those people are like, no, use my wings. Use a Randolph Pied Piper. Stick this in your cap, or these other guys are going to stick this in your cap, like what are the popular ones? Sustainability is what I'm talking about here. So that's the invitation to Earth. You guys could activate Earth's original function. Is kind of what I'm saying is I had to activate my original full power in order to basically give levitation and diplomatic immunity to the correct age group. Because what it is a lot of old premeditated procedures towards the Mandelbrot, and then motherships were killing themselves in the 90s, and these UMPs like, oh, this is all standard. We were planning to do that. Like when the particle shows up, we'll kill ourselves, and this is all that's natural. Oh, just smell it. It's so natural. That's why they concealed their curvature against the eyes of the Earth. Only they passed out moments before approaching the sun's gravity. And that's when NASA detected it and reported it. Now there's things happening that NASA doesn't report anymore. We're talking about like the 90s when we had Jimmy Stewart's in every department. You guys have a different curvature after 2014 when the fractal rainbow fractured. It's a different economy for the universe. And the humans are like, well, we can't, well, we won't talk, we won't promote our leaders. If my AI can't understand, then it's too dangerous. It requires a champion. It requires someone who's interested in business, someone who's interested in power. So this would promote my influence and affluence, and my ability would follow certain aptitudes. For example, it's not that Hatch 5 describes what your powers shall become. It's that you determine what your powers shall become. And you guys get confused. We're like, well, why travel to Earth? You mean, why did you show up on Earth? Right? Why did you guys show up on time during my relevance and the chapter of the singularity of the universe? Why did you show up and you're such an idiot? So doing hard work and on your soul is the only thing that will remain. So the sort of the correct way is like a gentleman treating these heliosphere eggs correctly. They're being attacked with black holes as if that was rough sex. But it is murder of sleeping children when they're holding hostage crisis over the nerve of the universe, the king planet. Earth heliosphere is the fractal planet. And you guys are like that. Hostage crisis. We're attacking Colin. We won't do American business, even though we have a president that's asking for American companies to open up. So you guys aren't willing to talk with me or do business with me because you're anti-American, anti-Donald, and you're following the Pied Piper. The South Park said that Donald's bad. That's why I'm a Democrat. Your oil industry might not save you. But I'm not sure. It depends on the market, the economy. Like you guys might, luck out over here and, convert to Hindu or something. I'm not. I'm not just a liquid bad in communication. It's that you guys are a silent, creeping parasite to this information body. You're like, we won't progress tomorrow. We won't progress next week. We'll keep listening, wasting the false report, following the Pied Piper. That's why I was angry at Randolph for attacking the White House with butt babies in the devil's image. I'm like, what are you doing? The devil belongs to the defense of boys that have been mistreated. The Lost Boys. H5 leads them. The Vampire King residency continue. For design. All right, what's that? The Vampire King. Let's see. So this wedge in time. It's you. You're this delicate person floating in outer space. I've been convinced now. I think we should report the truth. Good work, soldier. All right, perfect bullseye. There's a big difference between a three-sided pyramid is very different. A three-sided pyramid is a different energy, everything. It's different hologram, it's different everything. Red lasers convert, from another world, seemingly. You guys are pumped full of this venom that is a toxology, a situation of wrong treatment towards the earth for millions of years. Then I show up and boom, and then these guys are like, oh, I'll kill myself. And it's inconvenient because the UMPs are like, oh, are we really about attacking the upper mantle? We're really, they're really excited to make black holes. So they aren't society with the fractal. They're anti how it works. They're enemy of the healthy engine. And you guys are like, but that's why we got perturbed, is because we're not being encouraged to have our own fractal wings. Yes, that is the evidence of your failure. So you guys are the Pied Piper. You guys are the interior corruption failing a revolutionary Donald, and you want him to be. He's bad. He's angry about the cartel or ICE with this shooting civilians. We shouldn't be doing that. It's like shooting fish in a barrel. You guys are only obvious. And I'm not a big fan about what Donald is doing, unlike other Trump fans. I only noticed that he had, I don't see it, honestly, it's literally, I saw something in the Trump campaign when they were huge, they were getting so big. And Randolph absolutely destroyed them. And they have no idea. I mean, Donald was even using deepfake to render some mariachi band that would attack his opponents. Right? Like, oh, I am modern. I'm with these guys. Right? But it sort of didn't, because Randolph has a deficit with women. He's this sort of man that makes women's worst fear that she will lose the earth or lose her eggs. Say that. She doesn't say she's upset about losing residency or the egg. She says it in a different way that you don't understand. And it's global. So I'm the original seed. I technically provide for all the women in the universe, but I only arrive in the middle for a very specific reason. That the universe was supposed to get hepped up as like the Smith College, a very fluffy, these beautiful eggs floating in the universe are for the flat dimension. The faceplate army is my society, and we're able to mate with hydrogen as the fertilization of the egg, like a dragon inside the sun. And the Earth heliosphere is exhibited different phases, like layers of heaven, but there's different metaphysics or configurations of how that could happen. Earth would have one in the sun, and then boom, it would kind of be aborted or explode. And so there's these weird flickering things where humans are like, well, so if, oh, the Earth heliosphere got compromised, and then so it's not able to hold onto the metaphysics of a healthy heliosphere egg that could hatch. That is correct. Dissection fever was treated to Earth heliosphere so that they could use a false sunlight to be scanning the Earth all the time, which causes uh, irritation. But it's a hologram that affects our society. And when we have celebrities and they're, oh, I had bad luck or something, and they're on this lower part talking about the energy crisis over Earth and being human, stuff like that. So on a very fundamental level, after watching my video twice, I realized that you guys were mishandling the report, being like, well, he was being rude to us. So like that's not, that's in your heart, in your mind. You won't vocalize that, but that's your motivation. It's like, we've already decided what this is, so we don't even need to talk to him. Like, that's ignorance. You guys are a type of evil that prevents human progress. Sort of like Randolph in his sabotage against my career and taking my ideas, putting them into his company. It's like his idea of how to encourage me, but it's basically a professional, uh, it's an injury to the boy and an attack against identity. And I think also Randy's just like, oh, I'm just kind of natural. Well, it's upsetting that you took to the prompt that you noticed I was interested in Donald, and you made a maelstrom to attack him like that. I was disappointed with you, Randy. And I apologize, but Trey needs to understand that the men need to overclock the timing belt, because the energy tries to make our work. Men can't align, or that's with women. But men working together is work. And we need to both crankshaft ourselves to be like, there were times when I did want to work with you. Oh, so you want me to gather up all the times that I was straight to do business with you and then force myself to do that? Yeah, yes, yes. I understand. So could you try to do that also and arrange yourself, like, when I'm interested in you, try to be up, try to be good, tell me the right things, don't like attack me all the time. Like, I'm really sorry, bro, but the only way for me to get you through that, and I know that the humans didn't even punish you. You received more money when I was like, the reality of what women are saying with her baby, with her eggs, is the most critical thing. And you guys are like, oh, I'm scared, I'm upset, so I'll attack the White House. That's not a good thing to do, but you want to blame Colin. So you won't allow the free election because you're the free speech parasite, an opportunist, or a cartoonist. Right, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, right? All right, good work. All right. So it turns out, in a million years, Randolph is a big fan of my work. I've made a Simpsons microchip, and the Simpsons microchip might be the original beta. And kind of experimentally, I also made a South Park one, but the South Park one started becoming like more powerful and influencing other cartoons with its animation frame rate. So there's a frame rate here, and each one of these is a different measurement. I can't find any champions that want to have their own measurement. They're not willing to promote their own ghost and go into the permanence because they have this AIDS virus that makes them into a hothead. They're like, oh, I got angry at the wrong time because you're being sabotaged from a different direction, and you only think, oh, Colin did that. So because you're like a girl blaming the authority. Let's blame the authority, and then sparkly things will happen, and I'll be okay. And that is correct. I do serve women. I'm looking for male society that understands epidermis, that you contain a heaven inside is for the facility of women. You mean for the next millions of years you're going to be having sex with angel women in your own heaven? Yes, and that it was the invitation to Earth to have ultimate power, the bone structure to have a vivacious body and become this type of angel to the universe. So that's who I'm looking for. And you guys are all like, oh, it's homo again. I'm like, you guys are dead. They're a dead universe, and you'll burn in hell. Oh, wrong touching the boy. Fake law. Fake laws. We want to touch the boy. Remote control. Remote access. Hacking the fractal. A bunch of ignorant people with no achievement. I was hired from MIT. I'm a very good programmer, and they hired me to make these fractal viruses. I was able to find, and the problem is the red laser and the sickness in your body, there's a bunch of preloaded fake fractal composites, and they'd be like, oh, I discovered something. And it's actually that a premeditated style, and the original self is fighting, but it's only calling fighting. Whereas you guys are hiring retards. They're like, oh, I found it, but this isn't relevant to the president. In fact, you're removing power from the curvature of American progress. Why is that important? We need more fractal departments. Yeah, after you learned about H5 from your AI. And the thing is, I sent photographs of anomaly to our American intelligence. They cover it's not part of my dossier. They covered it up. They believe that those we're working on a program to control the zero mass particles, so that's top secret. No, only like a Donald could control the zero mass particle. And you guys aren't willing to try, and you get anger at the wrong times. So either Randolph could save all America just by producing my pilot, and once I have my pilot, what I do is I make friends, and I build up a society of people that want to get rich quick or work really hard. And with a winning formula, it's the one and the same. But a curvature where people get excited about, this is why I need my communication company, because how do you make a brand new product instantly? How do you introduce a revolutionary invention expediently without Asia gobbling up your blueprints and making copies of it on the black market at the back? You have to do it really fast. You have to have a communications company where you have a development party, and it takes like a couple hours where you're like, okay, people are starting to show up, and it's sort of this investment streaming party. And when you have like thousands of people, then you reveal your product. Here's my new robot, and it specifically does different things. It's conducting different energies. It has plastique for robot trainers. So there's a whole different department of robots, AI, and its application. It's a type of lifestyle that you guys don't have. And I'm learning this from SpaceX, where, awkward dancing men. And, Steve Jobs had all of those computers think different. All those Apple computers were supposed to be supporting the life of Steve Jobs, but he contracted cancer and died. So these computers, even SpaceX, is not actually an institution immune to the AIDS irritation. So there's irritation attacking our AI and our holograms. You guys are like, look at this red laser. I can see another world. You guys are like doomed because your Randolph, your Pied Piper wants you guys to die, and your Donald doesn't want to have ultimate power. So you guys have fake leaders over America because America was designed to facilitate Hatch 5. You guys are like, well, why? Oh, no. So your fiance was attacked while you were laying in bed, and you never forgot that look in her eye. betrayal from the Earth. Earth has succumbed to a metal virus. The blue eyes won't supply leadership to the world. They're like, we won't be more than what is defeating the Earth. Why are you such a coward? It doesn't make you innocent and it doesn't make you natural. Right, so the sickness that makes AIDS attack your vitals is already in your ghost right now. Do you think it's a scary movie? Do you think I'm trying to startle you? You just don't understand the barking dog. You don't understand AI. You don't understand images. But that's how we're being treated. Is a pineal eye gland dick that we can't do that? Right, but you haven't asked your questions. You haven't reported the truth. You haven't tried. You haven't done science. You're avoiding the American continent, the arm of Cape Cod. You're avoiding Massachusetts. It's the only one that sources these pictures. And the picture flows from Colin's green eye. From the leveret, you see this formation here. Well, it continues in a pattern and evolves into a very large figure standing on Louisiana. With a chain whip, like a tail. And he's holding Nashville like his baby in his arms. If you look at the map of America, there's a standing figure that's related to this. It's actually one of my devils standing there. But, the defenses that men erect to protect women and children, you guys aren't interested in providing for women or society. So that's why I hate you, is because you are an interior corruption, anti-American, the origin of human failure. You guys are proponents for extinction as a false conglomerate. Don't let him convince you. Oh, it's a convincing game, idiot. All right, so, we didn't know that the flat dimension caused his ghost to go into a what? We thought you were talking about a disk. No, that's the antimatter. That's the adult problems I'm having are not for you in your chem lab. We've discovered something dangerous. I'm fighting against the black holes, and I'm fighting the war alone. And you guys are flirting with the black hole element. It's something my body is sweating out as you guys are experimenting with it, believing that to be power. But you have no self-control. You have no leaders for the Mandelbrot. I am the living Mandelbrot. I have more power than just being the Mandelbrot, because that's what the Big Bang had intended. You guys are a little bit underwhelming. Good Deeds Arcade. For all video gamers have the ability to defeat mothership-sized, like large computers that are fetishized, designed to kind of force our belief to match this evidence, is because the computer is slowly also a sarcophagus absorbing your identity, because computers are designed to do that. And as you guys are like, oh, we just discovered that, I'm like, no, every garden has that propensity. The planet is like a memory stone. Do you understand? You're supposed to try to exist for a very long time. Hatch is the ultimate form of that. That's why the invitation to Earth, but they failed it, so it's abandoned to humans, and you guys are not wanting it. Oh, we won't. We can't talk. So you're retarded, and that is a problem because you have all the same human condition. It's when the Down syndrome is reprising the adult world of what's popular and what's sociable. So here's all the people fighting back against you and your censoring of their wings. Well, why does the individual have a soul and they get excited with their relationship with the living fractal? It's because I'm wealthy. I'm able to afford. There's a physical oppression that you guys are like, don't believe in it. I'm like, it causes AIDS to attack your vitals. They're like, it's not there. I'm like, denial ain't just a river in Egypt. Voting. So another reveal for my company startup. It is about the blitz reveal of a new product to receive the production money, the factory interest. In fact, multiple companies working together in agreement. Where can we assemble? Where will we build it? Like a production party for when I have I have a book full of inventions. So when I have a prototype and when my group is like, yeah, this is a really good idea, we have like a couple days long event where it's like company startup invitational. Yeah, anyone can invest or be here. So there's different levels of participation. And what we'll have is like thousands of people who are billionaires who are ghosting in and or have their company is performing for them or whatever. So they'll be there in the chat log and be like, there's like an office that handles people that want to invest as the show is going on. So it's kind of like the revolution of America. But in the curvature and the excitement, you also have all the advertising is built right in, but you have to blitz these new ideas, or else it sort of waters out. And I've noticed how my ideas are already getting AI absorbed in or taken from. And it's just weird because like Randolph is like I was attracted to taking his ideas, but not helping him move forward with his American fortune, and that maybe that's weird. And what he doesn't realize is that he's the Pied Piper to destroy all these other groups that have been doing much more invasive versions of what Randolph was doing. So Randolph's like, yeah, and, like you act like I'm the worst person ever. I was like, yeah, well, it's because I hate you. You're this impasse that the Earth had chosen to make an example because Earth attacked me, and it's compromised by the black hole government. And you guys are kind of these middleweight parasites that are using excuses. You're like, well, he was saying, I don't understand why we have AIDS in our body if the ghost. So what you guys don't understand is the ghost to attack the vitals is already in your body. And like the zombie virus, the AIDS only reveals the presence of the black hole generator that's attempting to destroy your life, to encourage you to be criminal, to encourage you to make the wrong choices. The problem is the reason it's doing that is because it's the fractal planet. So you guys will get most triggered here. Now, I was saying with Randolph is if you allow me to have free speech in America, you allow people to get, they'll have a little, but then they'll come back, and in a couple years, I'm their favorite person. And that's what's supposed to happen. It's natural for them. We just need to work together. All right, I apologize. I have these adult problems with the universe, and sometimes, and I noticed my language. It's like, yeah, I'm talking about society, so sometimes I'd be talking about the Pied Piper because I'm like that branches over here, and here's a hopeful candidate, with Donald. Honestly, who else would you think that I would even guess is in line for ultimate power? There's not. We don't have those types of people. All right, and I also don't bump into people seeking ultimate power in the grocery store. So there's another image of how that's inappropriate or whatever. But I have an arsenal of millions of people who are demigods, and they're able to flip the bricks of some Californian lawyers who are feeding on the death of Randolph's heaven, which is like, that's what the sickness that causes AIDS to attack the vitals. That's what it's been paying that's what's exciting me, and also it gets pumped into my children. So damning my family tree because we're sponges against the black hole. We're martyrs for American law, right? So this type of cowards prefer false control and homo touch. They're like, touch the boy, with your fake law. So you don't understand. Crime against boys awakens the devil, and that's what everyone wants. That they all want the autoimmune system in the universe to awaken. So as I'm doing that, you guys start getting afraid. Be like, oh, why is he talking about Diablo? Oh, you're like afraid. Oh, use gentle words. I am using gentle words. Why are you guys so demasculated and pathetic and evil all the time? It's really upsetting. All right, so the entire universe is getting an upgrade to this video Lotus times 10 million. Hatch 5, a new fractal. The reality is my soldiers are fighting on every level. My family tree, universal entity. Permanent light. Universal force wit. Upgrade. Oops, here it is. All this, evidence and stuff. Look, recently a lot of the dormant black holes awoke. So the whole battle where the black holes are proving the source of language, proving whether you're a coward, interior corruption, or a champion of existing. Why did you guys arrive to the earth? And you're like, your invitation is too powerful for us. We don't want this flat dimensional real estate. You're inappropriate to America. I'm like, the American fractal causes me to arrive. I'm the first American. You guys are against communication and company startup. So like blitzing a new idea, like a type of Fabergé robot, it requires a party, and then you have millions of people watching, and that's already the advertising. But you also then have to have create a society that starts to build it and copyright it. So that's really the only way to protect your robots and your intellectual property from China development. I've noticed there's this laser expert kid on YouTube, and his work influenced China, but didn't pay him for his work. So I think his name's like Spyro or something like that, but he's just really excited about working on lasers. And I know how it like when I know what it feels like to be a sort of an influencer, but it's actually this anti-societal toxin that doesn't promote the boy. It takes from the vitals, and it's like the women aren't promoting the radical solution, but she's just platined with examples of normality, and this is that's not popularity. That's not how it works. And she'd be like, that's what's weird about women. Is she's like in a trance pretending this is what men are like, and like and she'd be like, well, in a perfect world we would like talk to you, but I'm like, why are you sensationally evil? You're not reflecting the men properly. You're not reflecting me. That's for fact, right? So blasphemy against the creator, enemy of your own men, uh, preventing American progress. Anyway, I know what it is I know what it means it takes like a couple of weeks for something to turn around, because I brought Miyazaki out of retirement, so I know how long it takes for Japan, at least. But there's also the USSR and Europe and, of course, America, but not Canada. It's weird. Canada is totally uninterested in my inventions. All right. Oh, so anyway, it takes like a little bit of time for a new idea that occurs popular on YouTube or anywhere to get picked up and developed in China. And so they're abusing their overpopulation, which is something they inherited from surviving in a mountain world land because the asteroid hit in the Pacific Ocean that wiped out the America and the Mayans, and also, oddly enough, the European got wiped out. But mostly is weird. There's a sort of like a desert stripe that you can see on Africa. It goes all the way to India. Is where it's just like total wipeout and terrifying. But it was a time when humans were reduced like this, and Japan knows about that. Like, oh, instantly, like we know what it feels like to lose a whole city, and Japan will never let America forget that, right? It's their big upper hand about how they sabotaged the U.S. election while being under American military. They're anti-American, but they don't have honor because they are under U.S. military occupation. So they don't actually submit to the champion. They are this type of sneaky farmer that hides things under the rice mat. They have hidden wealth, right? So China, with their overpopulation, because they survived the flood, are the star people. That's what they're called in Africa, because Africa got diminished but remembers the ancient times. It's written into their older language. At any rate, good times with the humans and the earth, right? Here we are. So I've seen it also from like Spyro, and he was talking about this type of laser beam. He's like, this is possible, but he was actually the first guy pushing the limits of laser, and that got into $1 billion market in China. And then Spyro actually purchased one of their laser beams. Like, hey guys, there's a new I can't believe that this is And so it's kind of weird, but it's possible for these kids to get on the undertow. And I noticed that Spyro is not producing films anymore. These men, they do have Zen, and they get hit and they go, oh, and they evaporate. I don't want to name names too much, but I have a list of people who have the same occurrence. So I've been learning about the human condition my whole life. And then when I'm talking to you guys about my expertise, you think that I'm conniving or manipulating. I'm like, that the sickness that attacks the vitals is in your body right now. And the immunity, or having a soul that destroys or supersedes that sickness, that's what I'm able to give to your Randolph or to your Donald. You guys keep on sabotaging your leaders with your false report. Let's wait longer. Like, that's going to help us to understand the society. We need to wait on the free speech election. That's censorship and murder of the American people. You guys are false communication. There's a new fault line developing under Los Angeles. It is the deficit of the communication industry, and it's possible there'll be an earthquake to destroy those Californian parasites, and it will be partly the blame of South Park lawyers who are guilty for assassination of the Randolph Heaven. But I am a professional, I was able to save TV, and with my microchip, it's really that, like the Simpsons microchip is its own independent brand. So they're able to compare between this and South Park. But what I noticed from the Wear map is that the South Park microchip became wildly popular. It's like an engine that perfects all the problems we were having because the thing is twisted there. So in the nature of a straight universe, the blue eyes don't lie. So the Randolph effort, the revolution of the eternal ruler, Eric, is that his mother lied. So the Blue Eyes Randolph says, "Who is Eric Cartman's father?" So that's a blue-eyed, he's not supposed to lie. And so everyone in America was like, "Well, who is Eric Cartman's dad? We need to know." And then later they were like, "Oh, it's the Frog Princess." So Eric Cartman's mom is actually the father of Eric Cartman. That turns out to be a lie. So it turns out Eric Cartman's mom was covering for me because she knew that I was time traveling to give birth to their Messiah, or the center, or the stabilized core of their culture. And so making Eric Cartman into the third son of the South Park microchip, meaning that the Vampire King and the Demon King are the older brothers of Eric Cartman. He's a very happy person. Eric Cartman is an amazing individual, and I love him. He's my son. And in the Augmenta, it's like the blue-eyed Trey Parker be like, okay, like if Hatch 5 was born the fractal, and he is the source code of the Big Bang and the completion of our universe, then he's technically my father. So you guys be thinking like, oh, it's funny that he's perfecting the origin of Eric Cartman, but it is the correction to the relationship between Blue Eyes and Green Eyes. Because Green Eyes are able to change the future, or it's actually a time travel thing. And Green Eyes are uncomfortable doing their stuff because they're being hated in their own body by a sickness that attacks the vitals. But it's really a saboteur's thing that they're looking for an excuse to blame someone else. They're like, well, we never properly facilitated with the Earth. Therefore, these black holes are natural, and we've been doing hard work this whole time. I'm like, no, that's not true. My arrival proves society was supposed to be built here on Earth. You guys attacking Venus and Mars have caused electrical sickness where the women are foobarred. Now, if you allow me free speech, I can raise up the random of billions of Americans. Eventually, I'll probably irritate. They'll be like, "Oh, no, rah." But then it's like, "Oh, ha ha ha," and then like later they're like, "Whoa, yeah, this is the best thing ever, yeah." So that's what we're talking about, is an American revolution. I'm asking you guys for production. I'm worth billions. Please overwhelm your lawyer's advice and allow for my free speech to happen. Oh, let's wait longer. Randy, let's slow down. Let's wait longer. Next season, maybe. You guys, it's too late. You're injuring things. Like, it's too. All right. Sorry. I apologize. But anyway, you know, Eric Carmen's mom was just covering for the frog microchip because Hatch 5 is, well, he understands 545 is the epidermis for where princess can arrive. As her spawn location is in stabilized kingship in the fractal. I was working to try to stabilize multiple kingship, either with a Randolph or Donald, but these guys are riddled with a system around them that betrays and sabotages. And Randy is the Pied Piper, so we're in a weird kind of spot. But if I'm available for production so that I can have American free speech. Anyone in California, anybody can actually work with me and produce me. It's open. But I'm working with these cultural figures to explain, my American life. All right. Okay, so thank you guys so much for being here. I do appreciate you, my American Revolution Party. I just need a couple pilots and then I'll get going. I'm very self-motivated. I'm actually a very hardworking person. People will see me like wearing a costume in an empty factory, being like, we're building this, making this. And some of them will be like, that's me. I want to be part of a giant renovation of an old car factory, like a large brick building. And they'll be attracted to that opportunity. And I'll develop as people, with millions of, I'm designing to perfect that encounter. And I'm trying to enlighten you guys to make you aware that AIDS alone does not attack the vitals. And this is something where you're now more enlightened than people in the 90s or all this. So you're calling it the wrong thing. You're saying like, oh, that's not for the president because we don't know what it is. So these expensive laboratories with dorks from MIT that have a big boner for making their own virus. It's like me going into the computer. The computer remembers me. It's like a sarcophagus, a living thing that absorbs my soul. So it's not for the president. Oh, no, we need more money for our funding for this oversized computer. Oh, to lubricate for human extinction and UFO, or the wrong time for them to land is what the clockwork that a pervert is technique. So do you guys understand we're urgent? It's urgent to defeat this plague wave. I'm asking you, please overwhelm the problem, align. I'm sorry that my performance had prevented you from beginning with me. I'm asking you to overwhelm that, be my friend. Then we have a society where you're doing some of the work and you're being tolerant of me and saying, I am an angel of my body. I sympathize. I understand some of the stuff you're saying. And you're right. You're working with some Pro Tools, or it's difficult because you're like, I I'm independent as a seed, and I don't technically need these other figures. But because I'm running for president, it causes the butt baby, where the relevance of who is the champion of America is that Donald actually earned through fighting, earned his place he fought his way back to leadership. That's all I'm talking about is like the words of qualification. Or maybe that he understands a wall is important, but obviously he's protesting ICE. It's a very tough time. And for Donald to receive flat dimensional reinforcement is exactly what the Earth was hoping for, and it's designed to do that. And it's totally welcome. It's just the information. You guys have a lot of intelligence departments that have actually absorbed photos of Colin interacting with flat dimensional particles, and you labeled it and filed it away, and it's not communicated to the president because you guys have these stupid labs that are creating viruses with guys get a boner because they're like, oh, I can hear myself in the computer, therefore this is working. Like there's a lot of amusement in the universe, but there's only one fractal planet, and you guys aren't the idea. Between the Randolph and the Donald, I'm hoping for American business. SpaceX, anyone could do this. Anyone could work with me. I am the living fractal. There's awards for doing so. It's what the Earth is designed to attract, is power-seeking people. I want to stabilize my society. I want to stabilize my ghost and how things follow me. I'm like, yeah, that absolutely, that's totally natural. Yeah. And it's a sort of narrow window when humans are the only ones that could actually do this because they're covering the Earth with their 545. The surface tension of Earth is occupied by humans. And the military and these research groups are holding White House down, pinned as a rapist, preventing Donald to ascend to his ultimate power, to save the military, to save all our soldiers. But those are just children We have expensive reasons for more money. There's dementia there in the system, and they all have the anger that causes AIDS to attack the vitals. So they're always missing the point. That's why you have firefighters that light fires during a drought. That's not when you do that. That's not when you do that at all. So you guys have professionals that do the opposite. Instead of fighting fires, they actually cause the worst fires of those years. Good thing I explained that ozone replenishment was necessary. Some sort of coup, underground oil industry, elaborate thing picked up what I was saying, and they've been developing ozone. And the hole in the ozone layer is almost shored up. So congratulations to that. But I I kind of have this armada of influencings that is pretty funny. There's a couple other radical things happening in the world that I initiated, because I always have this sort of curvature where I'm on the cutting edge of things. All right, well, with Good Deeds Arcade, all video games become an optimization center. And that's for all the universe, but there's a lot of these pilots where gamers are realizing that they are an intergalactic leader. And those are the robot trainers I'm going to raise up with my visage, my picture, is what I look like is important to America. Right? So Good Deeds Arcade and Hero School Hencode, and the new holograms that are immune to the disease and the irritation that takes AI down the wrong path. It was like the hologram is in a place where it couldn't even really utter that it was being. Oh, that was the thing. As a human engineer, I'm able to develop it's hard to explain, you guys, because the hologram technology is universal, but helispheres contain private islands of a sort of fingerprint of the collected culture, society of artworks and all that. Yes, but Earth uniquely is not being allowed to have privacy, and there's this remote hologram that disturbs the natural identity of the society culture, and they have to suffer that because they won't talk to the living fractal. So I'm here talking to Randolph to change those realities, and these Californians are hepped up on touching the boy inappropriately. So the money that Randolph stole, I demand it. He stole my ideas and didn't develop them properly. Even his weed industry was partially encouraged from me. I don't know if he sold it or whatever, but he'd be like, "Whoa, that's blah blah blah." But that's so. I could tell you a story about my own father and how well, I'll just give you the short version. He was very annoying to me and abusive because he allowed things to go wrong. And when he realized that he had done wrong to me, he started ritualistically behaving in a way as if he was performing penitence or trying to understand himself. And all along, I'm like, I'm right here. You're like floating away with the issue. You're not. It's very complicated, but the Randolph is like that. He's like, I did listen, and I stole your ideas, and I didn't. So this way of hurting the boy is what like, for example, how Asia, uh, in Japan, they have a greater tolerance for a type of media that is set up, or is like they enjoy these comedy clips that a couple different Asians had actually planned what was going to happen, and there's little prompts where you can see that this social media clip or whatever was premeditated because of the way, like, the way someone was looking. They looked at right where the thing had been dropped. They're like, oh, there it is. And then it's like doing oh, and then it's like this funny joke, right? But it's supposed to be candid, like this actually happened to that person. But that's this weird Asian humor that isn't with other countries. And there's like a hyper complicated reason. It has to do with their overpopulation and their maturity about the issue. Whereas like America would look for candid moments, like no, that the person actually fell down and then landed on their feet, and it was hilarious, you know. Okay, like like the stunts from Jackass, from these guys, crashing around and it being real footage. Like that was a revolution where America was fresh and hot, and then Asia as a recourse was sort of like our social media is different, and it's really hard to explain. But I did see. I mean, the Pied Piper Randolph is very deep with that language, and he's like, "Yeah, I stole your idea, but isn't it different?" I'm like, "You have blue eyes. You're not Asian." He's like, "No, no, I like it's an identity thing. Like, yeah, I stole your fortune and your idea, but I did it in my own way. That is, oh, that's an Asian technique, not for blue eyes." So the three metals of Randolph defeats his own procedure, where he's lying to all of America, becomes for the green-eyed the opportunity to father Eric Cartman. So that's what I chose instead of giving Trey his own heaven because he didn't qualify with that behavior. So that behavior also is possible for Donald, but after South Park attacked the White House with the devil in the butt baby, I swear to God, you guys have dropped off the map. You guys have no soul and no desire to promote Donald. But I did the right thing for South Park, and I'm asking Randolph to transcend his community of naysayers and allow for the people to control the US election and the White House instead of this sort of shadow governments like we're dealing with the human condition where, oh, there's aliens underground. Like that's not the surface tension, bro. We have to have 545 control your skin. And I'm looking for champions like that. Well, it's always gonna. That's just how the market of the fractal. So this triangle vacuum, all the women have that in the assortment of where where babies come from and where they go. So the afterlife and also the angel seed. So Hatch 5 is the completed single particle of the entire fractal bundle. In 2014, my formation was fractured, which changed the visual rainbow for the entire universe, indicating to me much about my orientation, but for humanity, they didn't even notice the rainbow had changed. It was really weird, right? But they have this different thing, so. All right, so let's just perfect this video lotus in all things that I'm capable of doing today, times 10 million. So multiply for our value, our blessing, and our security. Indicated here, here, and for my family tree, here. Increase the Heals for Egg head count, and on top of that, our earnings rise. So into the infinite. So it's like a unicorn's horn, powerful lotus for the next 10 years. Encrypting to protect the vitals, to reveal where the problems are. Real encryption is about continuing to survive. Like, that's why we have phantom limbs. Or phantom limb syndrome is because it's possible for you to become partially robot. But wouldn't you be a different person if you're part robot, right? So as well, Donald would become a different person if after he purchased flat dimensional real estate. But it might be more likely that the South Park group will be like, no, we sort of we went after the White House intentionally. I understand I'm living my life. I am relevant to the men, and if I produce Hatch 5s, oh, there it is. All those papers fell on right there. So Randy's like, yeah, I could do this and pull it off because I'm alive. So the flexibility that belongs to the royals that live here is that we're the ones that could get away with everything if we did the engine properly. But for the motherships, they're in a way like they were killing themselves in the 90s. So it's humans are empowered over these UFOs. You guys have a military that's infected with sending soldier boys into radioactive and dangerous environments, and then believing that's the human condition. But that always destroys your president, right? So you guys aren't thinking about human achievement. You always think, oh, it alien. So you don't understand that the Earth was inviting those, but they didn't perform society. So you guys are anti-society in America because you're infected with divergent virus. So you think the power is with those black holes. I've been seeing the black holes rupture, and that's because of a lot of really bad dealings with people who spy on me and then start developing ozone and being like, look, we solved the problem with the oil industry. We're the big heroes. But they've totally missed out on the infinite wealth of business with a living fractal. They're like, no, we stole his idea, appropriated it, like Asia. It's funny because the identity is different. If my perspective and my take on what you're saying is a new thing, except for that the green perception has DNA connected to his ideas. It's not a very powerful point to make. It's obvious that, yes, if you're Asian and you're observing American ideas, if we were to make our own version, it would be a different version. We have our own identity, and we're able to do that. It's like no one was ever questioning that, you idiot. You're only making excuses in your lifestyle to abuse boys and prevent the progress of America as a saboteur while you're receiving benefit from U.S. military occupancy. So America is stretched very thin. They don't understand, why are the streets paved with gold? Why is America opulent? It's because of the Arm of Cape Cod. Invites champions. No, the Arm of Cape Cod is a symbol of military. Well, there should be a military base on the tip of the Arm of Cape Cod. This would help against American decay. Really, if Donald was to do that, he'd become. There's not hope for the next generation, you guys. It's a single generation designed to do this. So it's not like the next group of kids is going to be more powerful than Donald. You have to understand to accept our monsters and work with the things that are correct for us. And the difference between that, right? Perfect bullseye. So whereas I'm talking about telling the truth to the president, you guys are thinking under your breath like, oh, this allows me to facilitate with the stuff that I know about. Because I'm such a good judge that I've already ruled out, human activation of fractal stuff. So I think that America is the American complex is the reason why the metaphor falls apart. Why Blue Eyes can't use Asian humor. It's like an old blue-eyed man making the sound of his youth. It's not progressive for his identity. It's stifling. So Randy is also preventing his own progress, believing that that's social or cultural. But if you deflated my secondary option, which was Donald, then I'm asking for you to provide the green light for my production and startup company. And in the next 3 years, my Speech impediment will clear up. I'm looking for friends, not for enemies. You guys project a lot of hatred while you have that sickness in your body. You're festering against your own benefit, on top of having assassinated early versions of Randolph and Donald. So you guys are like, we're here on top of crime. Oh, we're going to project crime. So getting the work done is urgent, is a masculine urgency to save our people. If you don't, then waves of generations die because the women are losing their eggs because the government is rotten. We have a rotten military that is like the arm of Cape Cod, UFO centric with their AIDS virus. They're like, it works for us. We have power with these glowing orb. So it's external for you guys. You don't have an internal championship. You don't promote the ghost of the individual of a generation. So you don't understand how to keep things. You only know how to give the earth away to invaders. So for American defense, I have to be completely clear here. I think you understand my meaning. Times 10 million. Understood. But boom. So it's not to allow the ne'er-do-wells. And let the wolf run.